right, so a lot of people talked about making themselves marketable. All right, and if you haven't already thought about that, you really should be. All right, because why do you go to college? Why are all of you going to college? Why are you going to college?
To get a job.
To get a job! Right. We're all here to get a job, right? And so we want to get the best job that our education can get us. All right? And so I'm going to introduce you to this thing called niche marketing. All right? Who's heard of that before? What is niche marketing?
Pretty much presenting an idea or product to a smaller audience than what would generally be.
All right. A specialized audience, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And so my first exposure to niche marketing was 30 years ago. All right. So I wanted to be a police officer. And so as a young man, I was 20 years old, and I thought, man, how can I get on as a police officer? You know, I'd already been in the military. I was in the National Guard doing my weekend drills at that time. I'm like, well, that's one thing that's going to help me. What else can I do that will help me become a police officer? All right. And so, and I can't say that I had an epiphany. It just, things just kind of fell into place. But I became a first aid and CPR instructor. All right. And I did that through school. And the next thing, and then one day I did say, like, holy cow, all of these police departments are training their people in first aid, CPR, bloodborne pathogens. They have to do bloodborne pathogens every single year, and they're paying somebody to do this, and they're paying a lot of money to do this, right? And so I started using that as my key thing, my niche market, all right? And sure enough, man, everybody wanted me. And I've used that many, many times. I've been a police officer for, I don't know, half a dozen different departments. Most recently, Delaware County, just south of us by 20 minutes. I was a reserve deputy there for 11, 12 years. All right. And I've kind of gotten out of that now because my plate is full. I have an 18-year-old son who actually just started classes here today. And so I've been trying to take care of family. My mom lives with me. And my plate's been full. And so I just kind of had to let something go, but I'm probably going to get back into that sometime in the near future. All right. So niche marketing is picking something that will make you stand out from everybody else that applies for that position. All right. And so the question to ask yourself are, what are the things that I can do that will make me stand out and make me marketable? All right. Systems is one of those things, because I'm going to teach you a lot of different things about how you can help people understand their own systems. And what you'll find is that a lot of people work inside a system and they know their little part, and that's all they know. All right? And so being able to step back and look at things and break down these great big monstrosities of complexity into simple bite-sized chunks will help you, and ultimately I think will be something that you can use as a niche marketing tool for yourself. All right, let's see if I can get my PowerPoint to go. So what are systems? Somebody said we're surrounded by systems. Systems are everywhere. All right? They are. All right? Think about your life if there were no systems involved. What would that mean? What are the systems that we use every day? Name one system that you use every day.
Calendar.
Okay? How about you over here, Catherine? One system you use every day.
Not sure.
What?
Not sure.
Okay? Let's come over here.
My class, or my personal routine,
Okay, that is a system, absolutely.
that's designed for efficiency.
Yeah? How about you?
Meal swipe system.
Meal plan. Okay? How about you?
Blackboard?
Blackboard. Yeah, everybody uses Blackboard, right? Oh yeah, we're going to be using something other than Blackboard. We'll get to that in a minute.
The digestive system, AID.
What's that?
Digestive, AID.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I'd say like Zoom.
Okay.
And even like computers and phones.
Yeah. How about everybody's watch? How many people have a watch? Raise your hand. Who doesn't have a watch? Oh, you guys. You gotta have a watch. You gotta have a watch. All right. But no, our watches have more computing power than the first computers, right? All right. I grew up and my first computer was an Apple Color Computer 2. And then I got a Commodore 64, which had 64K of memory. Not megabytes, 64K. All right. And so, you know, my watch can do oodles more than that computer ever thought about. All right. Systems are all around us. All right. We are created by God in a system. All right. The world as we know it is one large system that is symbiotic. All right. Everything works to everything else. When things die, other things feed off of them, right? All right. When it rains, it feeds the crops. When the crops grow, they off-gas what? CO2, or actually oxygen. When we breathe out, we off-gas CO2, which the plants breathe. Everything works together. It's one big system. All right. And so it really is the master plan that God had for us to create this wonderful system that all works together. And unfortunately, we as man, we're working our darndest to tear that system apart. All right. But so systems all around us. All right. And if you think about your life without systems, it would be really, really, man, we couldn't do most of the things that we do today. Go back to the early 1900s, right? They didn't have many systems, all right, other than what they created for themselves. So this course, because of my background, I focus more on industrial type systems. We will have more computer-based content as we go along. All right, towards the latter part of the semester, we're actually going to do some Raspberry Pi projects, and then we will do some SQL, which is a database programming language, all right, or actually a database query language. All right, and so, but the bulk of my experience is more industrial military, all right, and so when I'm giving my lectures, that's where the bulk of my emphasis will be. But let me make it clear that even though that might be the emphasis that I have, there are other emphases beside that. And so I will be asking each of you to pull from your own experience to talk about your experience with systems and how they affect your life. The definition of a system. This is it. This doesn't get any simpler than this, right? So we have some kind of input. Something goes in. There's a process that goes on that changes that. And then we have an output. All right? This is it in its most simplistic form. This is a system. This is what it is. All right? And so our goal in learning about systems is to be able to take these complex things and then be able to look at things in a more direct way. All right, so we're going to strip away levels of complexity, and we'll talk about this many, many times. But this is it. This is a system. Psalm 139:13. God created us. All right, so our body, and somebody said this earlier, I eat, so I'm a system. Yes, we take nourishment in. All right, there's some processes that go on, and then there's an output. All right, a little more complex, right? We have a nuclear system. All right, and how many people think, wow, I could never fully understand how that works? Probably most of us would say, I don't know, man, I'm not a nuclear physicist. You don't have to be a nuclear physicist to understand how this works. All right. That really is the beauty of systems, is that we don't necessarily have to have a whole lot of technical savvy for that particular field to be able to use systems thinking to break things down and gather a pretty comprehensive understanding of how things work. So systems are processes. Somebody talked about their own daily routine. That's a system. It's a system that you developed. All right. Going online, doing e-commerce, lots of systems involved in that. If we really looked at that hard, there's a lot of complexity there, but we can strip that down and we can look at individual pieces and then put those pieces back together and gain a pretty good understanding of how it works. Transportation, electrical utilities, phones, computers, all that good stuff. And I think I already talked about that. All right. Gives you a framework to work upon. All right. And so again, what is the goal of systems? It's so that we can gain an understanding, better understanding of something that's very complex. All right. Reading a textbook. So here we have a system of doing what? And I actually do this. I'll read the back cover. Am I even interested? Yeah, maybe. Then I'll go through and look at the parts and be like, yeah, okay, there's a lot there that I really like. All right. And then we all have a syllabus, right? All right. And when you guys get into Moodle today, the syllabus is posted. And we also do have 2 homework assignments. I'm such a slave driver. System 101 goals. To learn how to approach problem-solving design, to learn how to use algorithms, and this is, we're not really going to be using much in the way of algorithms. So for those of you who are not computer science people, you can let your breath out now. All right. This course is not going to be very technical. All right. We will learn about computing systems and database structures. All right. And I know right now a lot of you are saying, oh, I can never do that. You can. All right. We're going to go at very, very slow pace and very methodical. If you have questions throughout the class, I want you to ask. Raise your hand, ask me your question. All right, because if you're thinking it, there are 4 or 5 other people who are thinking the same thing, and everybody's afraid to ask. All right, I'm not saying I won't make fun of you, because I will. All right, if you ask a silly question, I'm going to make fun of it. I'm still going to answer your question. All right. I enjoy teaching. I enjoy the interactions that we have. Okay. I'm a pretty easy person to get along with, and you know, I want you to learn. I want everyone to be successful in this class. All right. Learn how to create and use relational databases. All right, and that's at the end. The last couple weeks will be working with SQL in relational databases. Learn key principles of quality management. All right. So these are the goals. They're pretty simple. All right. Use systems thinking to analyze and understand systems. All right. Problem solving and design. This really is probably the biggest one. All right. Because if we understand how a system works, we can do some creative problem solving and deduce what's going on. So at one point in time, I was a cash register repair person. Okay, I knew nothing about electronics, nothing. All right, but I was very successful. All right, it's because I was able to problem solve and figure out, oh, well, this should be doing that. Why isn't it? All right, and so I was very successful. And I knew nothing about electronics. I know a lot more about electronics today than I did then. let's see. Oop, go back. Oh, there you go. All right, so our major topics, what is the system? We're going to be spending probably the bulk of our time right here, system modeling. All right, so we're going to talk about context diagrams. That's going to be our very first lecture next week, is talking about context diagrams, what it is. All right, and context diagrams look at the environment of the system that we're in, and I'm getting ahead of myself, but that's what we're going to talk about on Monday. All right, and so each of these are ways that we model the system, all right, so that we can understand it. The system design process, we'll spend a good bit of time on that. All right, and so not necessarily because you're going to go out and design systems, but if you understand the system design process, it helps you understand how things got to a certain point, or how they should have gotten to a certain point. Sometimes they don't. We will do some talk about quality management. We were scheduled to do 2 field trips. With the whole COVID-19 thing, field trips are out. So I'm going to try to come up with some alternative assignments, all right? The 2 field trips were at the Walmart Distribution Center in Gas City, and then Advanced Cabinet Systems, all right? 2 totally different concepts, all right? But man, being able to go there and actually see some of the things that we talk about actually at work, and talking to the people who are doing the work, really, really informative. All right, and so I really hate that we're missing out on those, but it is what it is. So I'm going to try to come up with something to fill those gaps. Computer architecture, this will be a 1-day class, well, it might be 2 days. Basically breaking down a computer, what are the major components, how do they interact with each other. You guys will actually be disassembling and reassembling a computer system. All right, for some of you, you've already done that. Some of you are lucky to turn the computer on, right? But we're all going to do this. Algorithms, we really won't do much there. Networks, we really won't do much there. Databases will be the last little bit of our semester. All right. So everybody should have received an email with a computer science, a CSE username, and then you go in and set your password. Who has not done that? Okay, so if you don't remember, when we get done with class, I will take you up and talk to Mr. Larian and Mr. Slauson upstairs, and they will send you a reminder email, and you can go in and reset your password. All right? As I said earlier, the bulk of the content is going to be on a learning management system called Moodle, M-O-O-D-L-E. All right, and so there is an address for it, but what I always do is just type in Taylor Moodle, and there it is, Moodle-Taylor University. All right, and it's got a CSE address in it. So everything will be there. All right, so you will need to log in daily. All right. Right now I have 3 weeks worth of stuff out there on Moodle. All right, and I'll slowly add to that. All right. I'm still reworking a lot of the materials. It gets better each semester, and so I try to go back through the materials and make sure that you guys are getting the best material that you possibly can. All right, so we'll probably stay about a week in advance. All right, I don't spring surprises. I don't like surprises. All right, so if there's a quiz or a test or whatever coming up, you will know about it in advance. All right, for midterms and any major quiz or test, I will have a review session. Okay, so my review sessions, I'm going to tell you the key areas that you need to know. I'm not going to tell you what the answers are, but I'm going to tell you the key areas that you need to know. All right, and again, if I mention something more than twice, It's probably pretty important. You will see it again on the test. And you're going to find that there are a lot of things that I will keep reiterating because I want you to keep those concepts in mind as we move through. All right. So everything is on Moodle. So you have 2 assignments that are due on Saturday. I'm such a slave driver. Okay, literally, one of them is to go through, read the syllabus that's posted on Moodle, and then go into that and submit, I have read and understand the syllabus, and submit. That's 25 points that you just earned. You're on your way to an A. Okay. The next one is, there's an assignment called 5 systems. All right, well, we've already talked about what are systems. All right, so everybody should be able to name 5 systems, and then I have some other things that go with it. It literally should take you less than 20 minutes to do that. Okay. With Moodle, I ask that everything be submitted as a PDF. Okay. The reason that I ask that is that when I go through to grade, PDFs stay embedded in Moodle, and I can just scroll through them, and it's easy. If you throw me something like a PNG or a Word document, then I have to open that up outside of Moodle, look at it, close it, go back into Moodle, and it creates extra work for me. So please, please, please submit it as a PDF. And it should be set up that it only accepts a PDF. Okay? Late work. The department has a policy of not accepting late work. All right? I'm a realist. Okay? If you have something going on in your life and you have to take care of something and you just didn't get it done, okay, I want you to come and talk to me and we'll figure it out. Okay? It's that easy. Now, if you're doing that every week, pretty soon I'll be like, yeah, no, we're done. Okay? But I'm a realist. I know that life kicks in and, you know, sometimes we don't get stuff done. Okay? Don't abuse it. COVID-19. There's a whole statement on the whole COVID-19 thing. If you feel ill, do not come to class. Okay? Shoot me an email saying I'm ill. Okay, I won't be in class today. All right. Again, this is a balancing act. In my personal opinion, this whole COVID-19 is an overreaction. Okay? That's my personal opinion. It doesn't necessarily mean it's your opinion. All right. But I do want the safety of everybody here to be foremost. All right. So if you're ill, don't come to class. All right. Shoot me an email letting me know that you won't be in today. All right. I will be posting these videos on my YouTube page. I'll send a link to that probably next week. All right. And so if you miss that lecture, make sure that you go to the YouTube page and do what you need to do. Okay? Assignments will remain due, even if you miss. All right? Again, if you're seriously ill, bad things happen, come and talk to me. We'll figure it out. All right? And we'll try to work towards a happy resolution for everyone. All right? I'm not hard to get along with. My expectations are that, you know, if I give you a homework assignment, I don't want it to overtake your whole night, right? Okay, most of my homework assignments are less than an hour. All right, there might be a few of them that are a little longer than that, but generally not. All right. The reason of doing homework is so that you have practical applications for the thing that we're talking about. All right. So if I assign it, please do it, and please do your best. All right. The one thing that really, go ahead.
On Moodle, it won't let us enroll into the systems.
Okay, I'll change it as soon as we're done here.
Okay.
Yeah, so everybody will need to enroll themselves. I'll have to change. I thought I'd already done that, but apparently not. The one thing that makes me angry and upsets me is people who just do the bare minimum to get by. Okay, if that's you, I'm challenging you to give it your best. All right, don't just turn in the bare minimum. All right, because it upsets me because I want people to perform at their best. All right, and what you do in college is what you're going to do in the real world. And so if you attack everything with your best, that's what you'll do when you go out in the real world, and you'll be successful. If you just do enough to get by, well, the world is full of people who are doing just enough to get by, all right, and their future's not exactly the brightest. Okay, so I want everybody here to have bright futures. Does anybody have any questions? All right, who needs to go see Mr. Larry and Mr. Slauson to get their stuff reset? All right, awesome. Everybody else, we're done early, 10 minutes. Woohoo!